David here. Welcome to Wine Tasting Destinations, where I drink wine and talk about my wine tasting adventures. This episode will be visiting Murphy's, California, the queen of the Sierra. So grab a glass of wine and let's uncork this destination. Murphy's, California, centered in the Sierra Nevada foothills, is located an hour and a half from Sacramento and 2.5 hours from San Francisco within California's Sierra Foothills wine region and the Calaveras County wine country. The town is named after Daniel and John Murphy, who settled in the area right at the start of the California Gold Rush in 1848. When stepping into Murphy's, it really feels like you're taking a step back in time. There are many historic buildings, including Murphy's Hotel and Lodge, which is a registered state landmark. It's housed guests such as General Ulysses S. Grant, as well as Mark Twain. Murphy's in Calaveras County produce Italian, Portuguese, and Spanish varietals, with over 25 wine tasting rooms along Main Street, many restaurants to choose from, several bed and breakfast and hotels. Murphy's provides a worry-free getaway and a perfect weekender trip if you're from the Bay Area. So as I mentioned, there are a few bed and breakfasts right along Main Street. If you want to stay in one, I highly recommend that you book well in advance. I'm a professional procrastinator, so when I went to go book a room about a week in advance, most of the bed and breakfasts were full. A couple B&Bs to choose from are the Victoria Inn and Dunbar House Inn. There are also several hotels to choose from. You can stay at Murphy's Historic Hotel and Lodge, at Murphy's Suites, or at Murphy's Inn Motel. This is where Stephen and I stayed when we visited. Personally, I thought it was the perfect place to stay, especially if you're on a budget or just looking for somewhere to crash while you're enjoying the town. It's a super short walk to downtown. We stayed for one night and it was only $145, including taxes and fees. You can't go wrong on places to eat in Murphy's, but there are two places Stephen and I ate that were absolutely amazing. Grounds. This place was fantastic. For starters, we had their Asian marinated chicken skewers. And then for our entree, we had elk medallions. I never had elk before, and I was not disappointed. Another place to eat is Murphy's Historic Hotel and Restaurant. This place is absolutely adorable. For starters, Stephen and I had the calamari, and then for our entree, we had prime rib. So good. As I mentioned, there are over 25 wine tasting rooms right in downtown. Clearly, I wouldn't recommend hitting all 25 in one weekend. The beauty of Murphy's is that you'll be able to walk from tasting room to tasting room. Pace yourself. Bring light snacks for your walk in between. Also, feel free to hit up the many shops that line downtown. So with 25 wine tasting rooms, that's a lot to choose from. So here's 4 that I visited when we were there. Vina Moda was the first winery that we stopped at. I was immediately drawn here due to the historic look of the building. I was able to get a tasting of 6 wines for $10, and the tasting fee would be waived if I purchased a bottle. My favorite wine here was their 2016 Syrah.
This one was a gold medal winner at the San Francisco Chronicle last year. And this is a blend of 2 clones. It's the French clone, which is the majority of it, about 85%, and then the Australian one, about 15%. Yeah, French clone is known for its really prominent tannins, and then the Australian clone is known for being really fruit and jammy. So when we blended them together, it made a really nice balance of those tannins in the jammy fruit.
Thank you. Vina Moda also has a rosé, Barbera, and other blended wines. Next stop is Milliere Winery. This winery has an adorable outside seating area with Angels Creek flowing right behind it. For a tasting fee of just $7, I was able to taste 4 different wines. And of course, the tasting fee would be waived if I purchased a bottle. If you love white wines, this is definitely a stop that you want to make. My favorite wine at Milliere is their Gewürztraminer. Milliere also has sparkling wines, Old Vines and Zinfandels, as well as Cabernet Sauvignons. Our next stop is Frog's Tooth Winery. Here I was able to taste 7 different wines for just $10, which is super generous. Of course, if you purchase a bottle, the tasting fee is waived. My favorite here was the 2017 GSM. Frog's Tooth also had a Chardonnay, a Malbec, as well as a Barbera. The final winery in our trip is Newsom Harlow. This winery felt a bit more modern in its sense of style, which is an absolute contrast to the rest of the town. For $15, I was able to taste 6 different wines. My favorite here was their Sauvignon Blanc. Newsom also has other blended red wines such as Foothill Zin, as well as Derailed, so Murphy's is a perfect weekender alternative than the more expensive and popular Napa and Sonoma destinations. It is a super easy trip, with everything located in one place. I've placed links to all the places I visited and mentioned, as well as the Visit Murphy's website in the description bar below. In my next episode, we'll be exploring Sonoma, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you're notified when it's posted. Until next time, cheers!